Welcome to the Transparent FX Academy. I'm Nick and I'm a top author on TradingView with over 190k reputation points. In this video, I'll speak about GBPUSD. And as usual, to keep the video as educational as possible, first, I'll cover the technical aspect for this market. Then we will be moving to the order flow by looking at the commitment of traders, so the COT data, which is essentially what the big players in the market are doing and how they're moving and shifting their orders, which is what you see right here. By the end of the video, by using a combination of these two different types of analysis, we will try to understand where we have the highest probabilities for the next potential move here for this pair. So this is definitely a video you do not want to miss. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Starting here from the monthly time frame, what we can see is that we have a market which at the moment is rejecting to the upside a quite strong historical monthly support and demand area. In fact, what we know is that from here, all these previous rejections to the upside were created. Every time the market tested this zone, it rejected it to the upside quite aggressively. And what this shows is that when the market is testing this zone, strong institutional buying happens. And we will be speaking more about institutional buying in just a few moments when we move to the commitment of traders analysis. But for now, let's keep all of this in mind and also notice how the market is currently continuing to reject once again this exact same level to the upside. So let's keep all of this in mind and drop down on the weekly time frame. Now, from a weekly perspective, what we can notice is that at the moment we just had a perfect inversion of trend. The market went from having a bearish market, so printing weekly lower lows and lower highs. Then we had this inversion of trend back to the creation of weekly higher highs and higher lows. So in a situation like this, more bullish price action could be expected away from this level. So the weekly time frame as well does seem quite bullish. We can also notice that the last movement here was the creation of an impulse followed by a correction. Now, if we want to measure a correction after an impulse, we have to take our Fibonacci from the low to the high of the impulse leg. And this shows us how we have a 0.32 retracement exactly at this level. And the market has already retraced to this zone and is currently rejecting it to the upside. Now, this is a perfect example of a correction happening exactly to a level which is usually the retracement zone when the market still is in a strong uptrend. Because when the market is in a very strong uptrend, it creates big impulses to the upside, then minor corrections to the 0.32, and immediately new buyers, new institutional buyers enter the market, pushing the price higher, which is what the market is currently showing right here. Now, speaking about institutional buying, if we move to the commitment of traders analysis and we look at the data for the GBP, the first thing that we have to keep in mind is that if we are looking at the data for the GBP, we're actually already looking at GBPUSD because all currencies on the spot are traded against the USD. And we can see how the net positions went from 6.5k all the way up to 27.2k, meaning that institutions have been closing their shorts, which in fact went from 79k shorts down to 62.3k shorts. And if we look at the very long-term longs have been increased. We went from 59k all the way up to 89k. In the very short term, we do see a decrease also of longs. However, shorts are getting closed much more aggressively compared to longs, and we're currently sitting with 89,000 longs compared to only 62k shorts from an institutional perspective on GBPUSD, therefore making it stronger and showing how institutions are buying again GBPUSD, so moving back to the bullish side for this pair, which makes this trend to the upside quite expected, because as institutions are buying, you expect the market to move higher. Now, there is one level that we have to pay attention to, which is this zone here. This is the previous level of supply and resistance from which all this rejection to the downside was created. at the moment the market is testing this exact same zone. Now, if we drop down on the daily time frame, what do we see? Now, here on the daily, we can notice that the market is currently still below this level. Until the market will remain below this resistance, it can easily continue lower. However, if the market will manage to break above this zone, that is where things get quite interesting, because a break above this resistance would make this previous resistance become support here. And on the retest of previous resistance turn support, there is good probability of seeing more institutional buying, which at that point could further increase the probabilities of a potential rejection to the upside away from this level. So if the market will break and retest this zone, what would I expect? Well, as usual, and as my students know very well, trading is reactive and not predictive. The monthly, weekly, and daily timeframes combined with the COT data, those are the best timeframes when it comes to the directional aspect of the market. However, when it comes to identifying early shifts in the trend of a market, the best timeframes for that are the intraday timeframes, so 4 hour and lower. Therefore, what I would expect is that if this market would shift from an intraday bearish to a bullish market, I wouldn't be surprised to see a potential rejection to the upside away from this level for the market to complete this daily impulse correction and impulse pattern to the upside. That definitely wouldn't surprise me. Now, if you want to learn more, I really recommend that you go and check out my website, which is linked in the description, because what you see me share here on YouTube is actually just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, if you head over to the website in the description, you will have the possibility to join the best trading program on the planet. You will gain access to all the courses ranging from the very basics of charting all the way to the more advanced topics like building automated trading strategies using the MQL4 programming language, building portfolios of strategies using quantitative finance tools like the Quant Analyzer, and much more. You will have the possibility, in fact, to gain access to the trading station software with the Telegram notifications integration, one-on-one private mentoring directly with me, the COT data software, which often you see me use directly in my YouTube videos, on all my platforms actually. And if you scroll down, you will see that you also have the possibility to get the integration. So all my EAs, which you find here presented one by one directly on the website. And you also have the possibility to gain access to my live trading show. So I live stream of all the trades on my live account as they're opened, closed, trade, and obviously managed. And if you continue to scroll down, you will see that you have the possibility to join just after here the testimonials and gain automatically access with the email and password that you will create during the checkout process. So I really suggest that at least you go and check it out. The link is in the description and I will see you in it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you leave a like. Also, let me know in the comments below any new pairs that you would like me to cover in my next videos. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss new updates, and I will see you in my next video.